Hey y'all, Brandon Rinas here. Hope you're doing absolutely amazing. So today I want to talk about the problems with Republicans and Democrats. We have liberals or Democrats, I guess you could say, and we get so excited. Oh, we need a $15 minimum wage. We have to have one. We're all doomed. If you don't take care of the poor, if you don't take care of the middle class, you are against them. That's 100% what it's for. And then we've got to stop. We got to control guns. We got to, hold them all in this box. We got to make sure the government regulates them all, and we're going to actually protect people when it comes to crime. And then you have Republicans who are all about, well, corporate welfare, that's totally fine. The military-industrial complex spending, that's totally fine. But Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, minimum wage, oh, those are all horrible things. We need to regulate drugs, but we can't regulate guns. And we've all heard these arguments, and most of us are guilty of one side or the other. I know I'm just as guilty, if not more so, than most. But I kind of want to slow things down and kind of go over how we should be approaching these conversations, how we should be thinking about things rationally in our head. First of all, let's start with your beliefs. Pick your most firmly believed stance. Let's say it's gun control or whatever it is. I challenge you. Go onto YouTube, go onto Google or whatever it is, and type in the opposite of whatever you believe. So if you believe that we need more guns to keep criminals from having them or to protect more people, type in the best gun control argument you can have, like why the Second Amendment is for military only, or why more guns cause more deaths, or just something, and actually listen to stuff. Don't go in there with this negative attitude. Go in with a positive, hey, I'm here to educate myself. I'm here to prove the point wrong. Not yell, not scream, not call them names, but to prove the point wrong factually. And if you can't prove it wrong factually, then maybe you have an issue with your argument. And I find this to be very common for all of us. I know I'm guilty of this all the time. I get in a debate and I make some point that I'm confident has to be correct, and then they really challenge me on it, and then I have to do my research, and sometimes I'll find out, oh shoot, I was wrong, and I have to admit this. But that's the reality of it. If we're actually looking for truth, we should be willing to admit when we're wrong, because it's not hurting anything. If we're actually trying to help our country, if we're actually trying to fix things, when we're wrong, we should be able to unite behind what used to be our enemy or our foe and be able to work together with that person on the issue, even if we have serious disagreements in other departments. So I've been talking to a gentleman on Facebook for probably about a year and a half now. Really good gentleman. I have a lot of respect for him. I'm not going to go and call him by name or anything of this kind. But he is super passionate about protecting the environment, and he is a genuine, nice, kind man that is very thoughtful. And I find that a lot of times, as someone who is not a Greenpeace, protect the environment to the nth degree person myself, I usually paint people into a corner who are protect the environment type people. Oh, they're just a bunch of nutcases. And then another example of something I was listening to the other day was a gentleman who was homeless, and he was talking about how he plays his guitar for money and he doesn't make that much money, but he's content with that because to him, he's living life to the fullest. He's not being all materialistic. He's not being all those things. People won't hire him. People won't give him housing because he sold drugs in his lifetime, and that to them is taboo for giving him housing, things of this kind. And me, I've always looked at druggies, or I'm sorry, not druggies. I've always looked at homeless people as, oh, that's a loser. I just put them in this loser category and I move on with my life. Yes, I assume that there are good people in there. But when I listen to a video like that, that's actually a genuine man that's worked his tail off, had a construction company, owned drugs, got pulled over and thrown in prison for 12 years or whatever it was, I go, it helps open my eyes and helps me realize that blanket commenting or blanket identifying like I do is not healthy. It's not smart. And so I'm not trying to pretend that I'm some innocent sweetheart. But I was talking to my friend on Facebook, and he has this serious, sincere issue, and he sends me these YouTube videos, and they're genuine good videos, and I actually watch them. That's one of the things I believe in is if you're going to promote videos yourself that give you, you got to listen to my perspective, you should listen to others. And as long as it's not something you have heard before, listen to it. Don't be promoting videos if you don't want people, if you're not going to watch other people's, and vice versa. Don't be typing some long message unless you expect them to respond. And so I do my very best to listen to everything that people send me and vice versa. And it was pretty much talking about how we are destroying foreign countries with all of our waste and with the technology that we have. And his solution was that we need government to regulate TV companies and computer companies and cell phones because they're turning foreign countries into wastelands, polluting them disastrously, and how we're actually ruining the environment and we're actually killing people. And these are legitimate concerns. He's not some nut job. He's actually pointing out factual evidence. He's giving me video documentaries. He's giving me real solid evidence. And he's not being half-hearted or, I don't have proof. He's sincerely looking into things. But then when we get into things, we need to go to why. Whenever we're talking about an issue, to me, the cure for anything is who, what, where, when, why, how. Who's profiting? When? How are they profiting? What's going on? Why? How can we fix this? Those type of things. Sincere, logical questions. And what it came down to is I was doing research on the thing, and I deal with the dump a lot. I do a lot of remodeling and things of this kind. And in Washington State, and I don't know about the whole United States, but in Washington State, it's practically a monopoly. It is a government monopoly when it comes to waste. Private companies are not allowed to get public waste. So if I have garbage in my house, I cannot bring it to a private place. Now, if I'm demoing a property, I can bring that to a private place, but not public waste. And so what does public waste do? They have a monopoly. So they can have higher prices. They don't have to be efficient or anything because they have a monopoly. So when they get waste, when they have TV, computer screens, whatever else, they don't have to worry about the most efficient way of handling it. They can ship it across the seas, give it to some foreign country, dump it on their land, and life is good. They don't have competition that might find a more efficient way of doing things. And so that was the point I was getting across to them is, you're looking at this as an Apple problem, or an iPhone problem, or a Samsung problem, or we have too many new laptop problem. And I'm looking at this as, how do we fix that problem? So if I'm going to the dump, if I own a dump, let's say we have we go from public to private. Now we actually have competition. Instead of business owners going, hey, let's ship this to another country, you're going to have business owners going, okay, we are spending a ton of money shipping TVs, computers, and stuff like that all the way across the sea to dump it into some other country. Let's actually spend a little bit of money researching ways to use this more efficiently. Maybe to reuse a computer, to figure out a way to dissect it so that way the plastic is separated from the steel. When you go to a public dump, and again, this is my experience in Washington. I know in Washington, North Dakota, Texas, and where else? Oh, Las Vegas. All of them have been the same in all these states. These are places I've lived, and they're all identical. If you go to a private dump, you dump your stuff at the private dump, they literally have people that separate everything. Wood, glass, plastic, everything. And what these guys are doing, because it's a private company, is they want to spend as absolute least amount on waste and try to collect all the plastic so that way the people that want to recycle plastic and make stuff out of used plastic can use it again. And so they ship all the stuff out of it, and it literally gets separated into the most common denominator, whatever it is. I mean, they strip the wood. It's a beautiful thing. So that way when you get these products that come, the shirts that are made out of recycled plastic, or the new water bottles, all these different things, they come from private recycle companies. They don't come from public places. The public places, they don't have motivation to take care of waste. If you dump it in their little recycle containers, they take care of it. But all your garbage that you dump in the dump, they're not going to worry about it. They don't care. They're not going to separate it. They have a monopoly. Why be efficient with it? They know they're going to make a profit. There's no need to be efficient. And this is why you always want to promote competition. This is why you always want to promote a free market. A free market is the best way. It is the most environmentally friendly way. It is the best way to give the best wages, to have the cheapest prices, and to have the most quality goods. One of my absolute favorite stories, and I'll try to post a link to it on my YouTube video below in the description. It's John D. Rockefeller. If you listen to him in public schools, he was this horrible, evil businessman. But honestly, he was one of the wealthiest human beings in the history of the world. He is the richest person in the history of the United States. And I'm not talking like a little bit. We're talking he was richer than Bill Gates by so much he makes Bill Gates look poor. Think about that for a second. He was so rich, he made Bill Gates look poor. Now this guy was so loaded with money. But how did he get there? Did he get there by destroying the environment? By screwing people over? By hurting everyone? No, it was actually quite the opposite. John D. Rockefeller should be the hero of all progressives. But the problem is progressives can't get behind him because he was the absolute opposite of progressive. He lived in a free market era where we didn't have government rules and government regulations. But he was the first successful environmentalist. The reason he had so much success was because he was constantly figuring out how to use waste. You see, again, when you have a monopoly, there's no need to worry about waste. But when you have competition, and in the industry he was in, there was lots of competition. You have to figure out a way to be more efficient than your competition, otherwise you go bankrupt. So John D. Rockefeller, he looked at what they were doing is they were refining oil. And they would refine the oil and they would get the kerosene and they would sell the kerosene. But all the wasted kerosene they would just throw in lakes. They would throw in puddles. They would throw outside their buildings. They'd just leave it there to waste. And John D. Rockefeller says, hey, I need to have an advantage on my competition. These guys are wasting all this stuff. I'm going to figure out a way to use my waste. And so he made candles and beeswax and all this stuff. I don't know if beeswax was one of it, but all this stuff, I know candles were one of them. It was, I believe it was 300 or 3,000 different items he made from his waste. What people were throwing outside their doors and just letting it go to town, wasting, polluting the earth, he was using to create more products so that way other people would buy them. Well, this gives him a competitive advantage. He's saving the environment and the other people can't compete with him. They're wasting money that he's profiting from. Pretty soon he starts buying up companies. He ends up with a 90-some% share, ends up with a 70% world share of the market of kerosene. Now he got that by only creating a product that was better than everyone else, safer than everyone else, more quality than everyone else, cheaper than everyone else. Every single year John D. Rockefeller was in business, kerosene became cheaper, it became more quality, less flammable, less dangerous, less wasteful. He constantly was trying to pursue better ways. The reason we have tanker cars on train line is because of John D. Rockefeller. We used to carry it in these small little, what do you call those things? The wine containers, the wine barrels. That's how they used to carry kerosene. And he's like, there has to be a more efficient way. This is so wasteful. Think of how much time we spend loading these things and unloading, and they can expand and blow up. There has to be more efficient ways, more environmentally friendly ways. He wasn't thinking protect the environment. He was thinking, how do I line my pocket? How do I separate myself from competition? So oftentimes, these Greenpeace people, the progressives, and the people like myself who are free market, we actually have the same common goal. We just have different perspectives. Progressives, they think we need government control of everything. We need government to regulate things. But they don't understand that the insanity of this means more waste, more pollution, more disasters. And I'm not saying this to be rude, but that is the reality of this. And both Republicans and Democrats are guilty of this. We can look at the pipeline. These guys, there's so many people that were at the North Dakota Access Pipeline that were genuinely trying to protect the pipeline, genuinely trying to protect the environment, genuinely trying to protect the water. These guys desperately did not want the water to be polluted so that way people had clean, fresh drinking water. They didn't want the environment to get wrecked with oil going down the water or oil pouring out of the ground. Genuinely caring about the environment. But in the name of protecting the environment, they stopped the pipeline, which means we now have 30,000 more trucks on the road polluting the air and the environment, shipping the oil. We now have trains shipping the oil throughout the United States. The last train crash that happened in North Dakota spilled 300,000 barrels of oil. Each barrel is about 44 gallons. Think about how much colossal waste that is. First of all, you have pollution of the train driving. Then you have all the trucks driving that are polluting the air. Then it drives up the price of oil because it's so much more wasteful, because you have to hire the drivers, because you're wasting oil shipping the oil. And all of this hurts the poor, the middle class, and the environment. They were being genuine, truly caring about the environment, truly believing in what they were doing. But in the process of doing what they were doing, because they were not doing research, because they were not thinking things through, they were hurting the environment. Another example, so I'm not just harping on Democrats or progressives, would be Republicans. They recognize, they go, oh my gosh, we have to allow guns to be free. We need people to be able to defend themselves. Yeah, America, we can pull out a gun, boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna shoot any bad guy that comes in my house. America, I gotta protect myself against the military in case they want to invade. Second Amendment was to defend myself against the tyrannical government. Yeah, I'm going to be able to defend myself. And yeah, there's truth to that. Cool. Those same Republicans are all for regulating weed, regulating drugs. Oh, we need to stop that from coming across the border. We need to have government regulations on that. Now, if government regulates guns, bad guys are only going to have it. But if government regulates drugs, we're going to be able to stop the bad guys from having it. Again, they're being genuine, but they're not even using the same logic that they use for their guns that they're so proud of protecting against drugs. We can't even keep drugs out of prisons. You think we're going to be able to keep them out of people's hands that actually want them? The same people who so proudly want freedom for their guns, boom, 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 won't allow someone else to have freedom to smoke a joint when they want to, or to marry who they want to. We need the government to dictate to the world who they can and can't marry, because that's my opinion. Neither side is promoting freedom. Neither side is promoting truth. We get so busy, so skewed, so stuck in our gray tint or views that our party is cramming down our throat that we don't recognize that we've lost all of our critical thinking. We've become sheep heading towards the slaughter. We're just promoting our party talking points. Oh yeah, liberals, they're all for gay marriage. Yeah, more power to you, but you can't have guns. So they're for one freedom, but they're not for the next freedom. They're all for, they recognize that corporate welfare is horrible, but social individual welfare, that's totally fine. Corporate welfare, well, those guys are going to keep going to the government. They're going to keep using the state. Yes, you're right. But individual welfare, well, those guys, they need the help. Yeah. And they're going to keep relying on the state, just like the corporate welfare. And then you have Republicans. Well, we can't help these we can't help these individuals on welfare. We can't help them on Medicare. We can't help them on Medicaid. We're going to go bankrupt. But corporate welfare, well, we got to keep promoting that because these guys will go overseas. Yeah, they will go overseas. Because our rules, our regulations are driving people out of our country, absolutely. But to believe in one while stopping the other is to be a hypocrite. We need to be able to unite people, but we can't unite people when we're being hypocritical from our perspective of saying we care about the environment while we promote things that actually wreck the environment. Saying we care about the poor and the middle class while we actually promote things that hurt the poor and hurt the middle class. Whatever you're passionate about, whatever you're so zealous about, let's say it's Social Security. You firmly believe Social Security is the best program in the world. Go Google, Social Security is going to go bankrupt. Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. Research it. Actually do research and figure out, wow, is this really what I should be believing in? Is this truly helping the poor? Is this truly helping the middle class? Because if you truly care about truth, if you truly care about helping people, you'd want the facts that are going to help people. Anything else is promoting an agenda. It's just trying to be right. Not factually correct, but just trying to win an argument, trying to win a debate. And that doesn't help the poor and the middle class. The thing I'm trying to do is unite us and to bring us together. With all the problems I'm trying to promote on my YouTube video, when I talk about promote, I'm not trying, the problems I point out. I want to promote solutions. And in my opinion, the solution to the problems we have right now with most Republicans and most Democrats is the fact that we will not do critical research. We see the flaws in the other party because our party points them out clearly, but we are not willing to look at our own party and see our own flaws. We have Republicans who see what a disaster Obama was, but they do not even see that George W. Bush was nearly identical on so many issues, whether you're talking about foreign policy, or whether you're talking about economics, or how about talking about destroying individual freedoms. We have people who love Obama, who think George W. Bush was one of the worst people in the world, but they don't talk about, well, they both lowered interest rates. Yeah, they both increased the national debt. In fact, they both doubled the national debt. Yeah, they both expanded our wars all around the world. Both of them were policemen of the world. Both of them were warmongers. Obama dropped more bombs than Bush, but hey, George W. Bush is the warmonger. George W. Bush destroyed the economy even though Obama did practically identical things. I mean, he supported bailouts, he supported quantitative easing, he created another bubble, he lowered interest rates, he printed an absurd amount of money, he doubled the national debt. I mean, all of them are the same as George W. Bush, but Obama's much better. We can't fix things in our country as long as we are blindly following our party while with our eyes wide open attacking the other party. Let's unite, but in order to unite, we have to work on ourselves first. Guys, if you want more videos like this, please hit subscribe and then hit notify, because right now the way YouTube is doing it, you're not going to get any new videos I post unless you're looking up the exact topic or you actually go to my channel. You have to hit notify in order for the videos to pop up whenever I post a new one. That's just one of the new things YouTube is doing. If you love this video, give me a thumbs up. If you do not love this video, give me a thumbs down. Tell me why. Let's promote dialogue. Let's promote debate. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful day. Peace out.